everybody, welcome to episode 4. So this week we're going to make a Valentine's card since Valentine's Day is coming up, and we're going to make it out of the white truffle collection. So we have the white truffle papers, we have white truffle paper tulle, and white truffle ribbon set. And on this card I've also made use of red suede paper, which is this really nice velvety paper. On the inside I've got a little more detail, and let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I've done is covered my card with patterned paper, and this is the paper I used. It's the really pretty lace border paper, and just make sure that the lace border is going across the bottom. The easiest way to cover your card with paper is turn your paper over, place your card in a corner, glue it down, and then take a ruler and just trim off the excess with your craft knife, and pretty much you'll have a perfect fit. Next, I'm going to take my beautiful white truffle paper tulle sheet, and I'm going to punch out the largest flower. And I love all the different little elegant details they've put into this artwork. I'm just punching it out, pressing from behind, and it's really easy. It's a pretty good weight of paper, but it's not cardstock, so it's not really hard, and there's not huge nibs that you kind of have to tear at. I'm going to go ahead and punch out all my flowers because I know I'm going to use all of them. And then I'm actually going to show you a new technique. Then I'm going to take my red suede paper. Gotta love how fuzzy it is. Looks like stretch velvet. And I'm going to turn it over to the back. And I'm actually going to turn this over as well, just so you can kind of see the shape better. And what I'm going to do is place this here and take a pencil and trace all the way around it. And you can guess what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut it out. So I've got one cut out here, and I've also went ahead and done the smaller flower. And there's that, and you'll kind of see how they come into play when I put them together on the card. Okay, so I've got my card here, and I'm going to place this big red flower up in the top corner, smaller one right about there. Then I'm going to take some of my ribbons, and then this one is a 1/4 inch black ribbon, and it's part of the white truffle ribbon set, which has got some really pretty ribbons in it. And I'm going to just place it for now. Just want to see how much I need. This little flower is going to get a black lace stem. So I'm just going to look at about what length I need and cut a little bit more just to be safe. So there, and there. Okay, so now I'm going to use my zips to attach these stems to the card. So I'm going to unroll just a little length of it. You can kind of see that shininess of the adhesive there. The length of the stem. And from the back side you can kind of tell that the glue is going straight along there. So I'm going to look at it, kind of eyeball it, and then move out my flower and my stem there. And then press down. I'm gonna take off this backing sheet, and you can toss that. And then place my ribbon stem right on top. And it's so much easier than having to mess with the liquid glue and it secures it permanently. So my flower's gonna go there. It's going off the card a little bit. You can either leave that, but I'm gonna trim that off at the end. So I'm gonna do the small one now, about right there. Okay. Now I'm gonna glue down my velvet suede flowers. You want to get plenty of glue on here since it's going to be covering over the top of that ribbon. We want to make sure that piece is stuck down. Alright, right about there. Looks good to me. And for the little one, right about right there. So now I'm going to make a little bow using this black 1/4 inch ribbon. The normal way that I tie bows is to take the ribbon like this and make 2 loops. The old-fashioned rabbit ear way, if you will. Then cross them. I do left over right. And then fold this right loop back through the hole and just kind of pull both loops. And at this point I can still hold all 4 ends and adjust the bow to the exact size I need. And I always do this on the end of a long piece of ribbon so that I can tie the bow first and then cut it to length. So I like it about like that. And that's gonna go right about there. So I'm gonna trim those edges. Really, you're not wasting much ribbon when you do it with this method, so that's good. And I'm gonna use a Zot or 2 to stick that on. Love Zots, can't have enough of them. So, do one. I think that'll be good for now. Alright, so now I'm going to put the paper towel elements on there. I've already got this one with the foam tape on the back. You can also use those pre-cut foam squares, and those work really nicely, especially if your paper towel pieces are a little bit more fine or detailed. So I'm going to put this, match it up with that, and just going to stick that down. I love how that's looking. And the little one, I've already pre-done this one, so I'm actually gonna offset it so that you can see the red suede flower poking out from in between these little petals. All right, looking nice so far. Now I'm gonna go back to my red suede paper and I'm going to cut a strip of it to go across the bottom. Alright, so with the red suede, I'm going to cut, I think, an inch wide strip. And it's just going to go along the bottom of the card. So it only needs to be about 5 inches long. Okay. That should be good. See how we did. So this is going to go across the bottom, kind of to cover those ribbon ends as well. And then I'm going to take another ribbon and put it right along here. Glue the suede down, and one point I wanted to make is that with this ribbon, since the suede is kind of fuzzy, I'm not going to use dots. This time I'm actually going to use glue stick. So I'm going to glue on the back of my ribbon. You may want to do this on top of a scrap piece of paper so you don't get glue all over your cutting mat. But I'm just going to go really quickly here and just press it down in the center of that red strip. And I love the play on patterns here because the polka dots are a whimsical, fun pattern, but then we also have the elegance of this lace and these little flourishes and flowers. Alright, so last step is I'm going to add a greeting on the front. Okay, so you can see how far I've zoomed in because I've got that tiny extra artwork piece which came out of this little oval right here. And I'm going to take a fine tip permanent pen. I'm just going to handwrite the word love on here. I'm going to put it in the top right corner, but first I think it needs a little extra something, so I'm going to put a little bit more of the red suede. So I want to cover this top right corner with red suede, so I'm actually going to turn it to the back, place the corner where I want it, and I've traced it right here. So I'm just going to cut that out and it's going to fit perfectly right on that corner. So now I've actually got that corner covered. I'm going to put a length of this black lace across the bottom of it. So I'm going to use my roll of zips again. Peel off the backing. And stick on this pretty lace. Alright, looking good so far. Now I'm just going to place a little bit of foam tape on this and stick it right there. Okay. Got my foam tape. And about right in the middle of the strip there. Perfect. Okay, one last thing. I'm going to clip this little guy off so that it'll fit in the envelope. Sadly, cannot keep everything. And then we're going to move to the inside. So I've punched this label out and there are a few little nibs on here. So what I like to do is take a small pair of scissors and just trim those off. You can also sand them with a sanding block or sandpaper. You can also just kind of scrape them off with your fingernail. There's a number of things you can do, but I'm just gonna clip them off. Now for the inside greeting, I'm gonna put Happy Valentine's Day, traditional Valentine's greeting, but you could put anything you want. And this doesn't have to be a Valentine's card, although the red is really lovely. It does not have any hearts or anything that's specific to any one occasion. So really, this is a very versatile card. So I'm going to print Happy Valentine's Day right here in the center using the computer journaling method. So the first thing I'm going to do in order to do my computer journaling is to measure this white space in the center of the label. It's about 2.5 inches long, and I would say a 1/2 inch leeway here. So when I go into a Word document, I'm going to make a text box that is exactly those measurements, and that way I know my text will fit, the text that fits in that box will fit on my label. So I'm going to print that out and show you the results. So I've actually printed 2 greetings. This one's just to show you the size of the text box. So I had a text box in the middle of my document, and it was a 1/2 inch by 2.5, And this one, I put a line around it so you could see the size, but this one's just invisible, so it has no line. I'm not going to use this one, this is just an illustration, but I'm going to use this one. And the way that I usually tell that it will fit in here is to put this over it and then put it up to a light source so that you can see through it where it'll go. And then at that point I would take a piece of tape and roll it up in a loop and stick it right there, making sure it's lined up, and then run it through my printer the exact same way, and the text should land right in the middle of the label. So let's see if that will work. And here we are with the finished product and perfectly centered. So I'm gonna peel it off that piece of clear tape that I had it stuck here with. Just want to make sure that your tape isn't too strong. It's just regular clear tape because you do want it to be removable. And now you're ready to use this on the card. Okay, so I've actually gone ahead and put this piece of striped paper right here, and the way I did that was I just took this whole sheet, placed it onto the card, put glue behind here, so glued down this corner, then turned it over, and it's the same process as covering the front of the card, only you're doing the inside, so you're not cutting over here obviously. So you're just cutting right here and right here, and you've got that perfect section. By the way, this is about 3 inches wide and 5 inches long. I'm gonna add some ribbon right here, and then you'll have at least a little bit of blank area underneath the greeting to write your personal note. So I'm gonna stick that down with zips. So there's actually a trick I sometimes use when I don't want to waste a lot of ribbon. If there's something large that's going to go in the middle and the ribbon's going all the way across, why not just fake it and put 2 strips on one on each side, and then once you put that over, no one will know the difference. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put some foam tape on the back here and stick that on. Okay, so I'm taking off the backing, sticking that down, and I'm going to put it a little above, and I'm almost done. To put these 2 layers on, kind of framing the greeting. And we've got one more step until your card is complete. So in the beginning when we did this flower, I should have told you to cut out 3 of those red flowers, but no fear, no worries, because we can actually use the evacuated space to get the same shape. So trace this twice on the suede paper again and cut those out. So that's the last of the fussy cutting, I promise. Now where these gonna go are right here and right here, but I'm actually gonna tuck them beneath the label, so I'm going to trim them. I'm just gonna cut off 2 petals. See how that fits. And this one is looking pretty nice. Just gonna see what happens here. And yours might be different if you want to turn and twist them a different way. Totally fine. Okay, so I'm gonna do it like that and call it good. So here's a nice close-up of our finished card. And the inside. I love that it's pretty simple on the inside, but it's got a touch of whimsy with the polka dot ribbon, and it's super intricate with the lace. And it is a Valentine, this one is, but I would have no problem converting this to a birthday card, congratulations card, pretty much any occasion that calls for card sending. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Simply Anne. I hope you enjoyed this Valentine's Day card, and please do not forget to click on the savings bundle, which includes the fabulous white truffle paper pack, this velvety soft suede paper, and of course the white truffle paper towel. And look at all these lovely images you get beyond what I put on the card. I do want to point out that this use of paper towel is non-traditional. The actual instructions tell you how they're normally used, but that's me. I like to go think outside the box. And so I use these pieces separate from each other, plus layering them with suede paper. So I hope you like that technique, and I'll see you again next week. Happy crafting!